is it ethical to be paid to do a review? So in my book, you know, I did refer to him as a bully, which I still stand by that. If I'm honest with you, mate, I'd knock him clean out.
I know that you had a stroke, didn't you?
Yeah, all I remember is just feeling a little bit dizzy. And then the next thing I know, all hell's broken loose, and I was just worried about telling people. Some people are going to look at me and they're going to think just a fat, useless waste of space, eating full, what's he doing, blah, blah, blah.
Like, did you think you could have died from them?
Yeah.
You've had a bit of publicity at the minute against another guy on YouTube.
He did a TikTok video. I got 5,000, 6,000 messages, emails. It was ridiculous. A group of people in Cornwall and Cornwall Live, I think, and newspapers put it out there that he was charging it. The group of people wasn't happy. So I decided to address it. Because it was such a big topic at the time, I had to do that. You're here and you're watching my video and you're trying to tell me how bad I look, how bad I am, just degrade me, really.
Are you the same Danny as that I would have gotten 10 years ago?
I did the podcast with you and I was so close to talking about it on there. I've not felt as comfortable as what I feel around you. So it just upset me that much, and it put me into a place where I just thought, do you know what's the point of all this? What's the point of me going out, pretending to be happy on camera?
So today we are joined by none other than Rate My Takeaway, Danny. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing good, mate. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Thank you for letting us come down to this area again, mate. It's nice to be... In fact, we were in Huddersfield last time, weren't we?
Huddersfield last time, crammed up in that little video booth. What people didn't see was that there were your man on the floor underneath us for like 2 hours, sweating like heck. But no, so we've come to another location that I've got today in Wakefield. And I have got to say, right, I don't know what's going on. I haven't got a clue about this setup, but it was just like being in hospital, listening to a surgeon, like F22, 357, yes, right, SP this. Thinking, what the heck is going on?
And this is a man who's got a massive following on YouTube.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're doing, have you?
iPhone and a microphone, that's it, done. I film the content and I go home. I leave that editing to somebody else.
Now, since the last time, I think you were on about 500,000 subs. You're approaching 800k now, aren't you?
Yeah.
What's been the difference in content, or have you just done more of the same to get that growth?
Well, it's the same. It's the same content. Me being daft, going out, being me, reviewing food. Obviously, we go off recommendations from people, so it's looking at what recommendations are out there and trying to find some places that are a little bit different. It's like we have, for some reason, I think people are having my pants down a bit. They're recommending places, saying it's great, and I've gone and it's not great. So, but they tend to do good as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so it's not really doing anything, different as such. We do sometimes take things out. So like, we used to do like a lot of B-roll. So we've removed some of that now. We used to do quite a lot of chatting while I was driving. We've removed some of that. Just condensed it down because then we can put more in of interactions with the public, and also more with the food as well, because we don't want to be hitting a video that's a stupid amount of time. Mm-hmm. People, they don't want to be having 20 minutes of me waffling on before I get the fish and chips, and then that's like 3 minutes of content then. So we've got to try and even it out a little bit.
Because I know that one of the biggest reasons, well, for one, everybody loved our podcast. It was one of the biggest ones I've ever done. I think it was just the crack between us. Obviously, I like you're a good lad, and it's always good to be in your company, mate. But a lot's happened since that podcast.
Yeah.
I know that you had a stroke, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because you told us now you actually had the stroke before the podcast.
Yeah.
And you were close to saying, weren't you? What was that? Were you getting any early warning signs? Like, what was that? I know you've told your story, but for the people who are just tuning into this one, like, what was the crack leading up to that event?
Yeah, so basically, when I had did the podcast with yourself, I think it was like end of September, beginning of October time, and I'd had the stroke in February that year. So I had a lot going on. Obviously, at that time, I was looking at the pack horse and looking at what we were doing with the kitchen. I got stuff going off with the channel. I got some personal issues going on, and I was under a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, and there was just too much going on. And on the day that it happened, I was going outside. I'd just put some washer fluid in my car. We were going out for a family meal for the birthday. And as I was walking back in the house, all I remember is just feeling a little bit dizzy. And then the next thing I know, all hell's broken loose, and Sophie's got upset and phoned for an ambulance and all this because I've had a stroke. Obviously, she said that my face went drooped to one side. I didn't know what I was doing, didn't know where I was. So I was admitted to hospital. They said they did a few scans, said that I got a blood clot at the side of my head here, which caused me to have a stroke. But me being me, the idiot that I am, I come out of hospital and I had 2 meet and greets booked in for my fans. One at the Trinity in Leeds and one at the Ridings in Wakefield. The Trinity were on the Monday, Wakefield were on the Saturday. And the doctor said, just plenty of rest. I'd lost quite a bit of movement in my left side. So I decided that I could just sit there and just talk to people, not realising the full impact that the stroke had had. So I did it on the Monday and I was shattered. Did it on the Saturday again, I was shattered. On the Sunday, went to put something in the microwave and I lost 20 minutes of my life again and had another one. So I was back in hospital. So it was like 2 within space of like 2 weeks. So I was pretty lucky, to be honest. After that one, my left side was just completely, I couldn't move, to be honest. So I had, luckily, like with medical insurance and stuff like that we had through my takeaway, I had loads of physio. The NHS, if I'm honest with you, were absolutely amazing. Pinderfields Hospital in Wakefield got a lot of stick, but I couldn't, thank them more, to be honest, for what they did for me. And it was just then trying to adapt to life after and trying to come to terms with what had gone on, because in my head, something had just happened. I didn't really know what effect it had on my body. But the effect it's had is obviously it's brain damage. That's what's happened. I still get, I suffer with a lot of fatigue, so I get tired. So we're filming this sort of like mid-morning. Come 1, 2 o'clock, I am going to be dead to the world, to be honest. Just the fatigue kicks in and it's really bad. And sometimes I can just be talking and I start talking gobbledygook and it doesn't make sense, because that's what it does. That's what it does to my brain. So it's a lot of adjustment what needed. But the main thing is obviously I had like probably 8 weeks away from filming to try and get myself into a position where I could go back to work, if you like. We had a load of content banked anyway, so that we're lucky we'd just come off of filming 12 episodes. But I was just worried about telling people, because obviously doing what I do, I know that there's trolls and it's part of the job, right? Anybody in social media, you've got to be prepared to take a bit of stick, because everybody's got an opinion. I have, you have. Ours are going to be different. Some people are going to look at me and they're going to think just a fat, useless waste of space, eating food, what's he doing, blah, blah, blah. And if that's what they think, that's up to them. And I'm fine with that, all right, because I think everybody's entitled to their opinion. People know you go to the gym, your fitness, you all that. I've had many conversations about this and said to people that I ain't going to kid myself and say that I'm going to go to the gym, because I'm not. I'm just not that person. I've been a couple of times in my life and didn't like it. Didn't like the pressure it put on my body. So why put myself through that if mentally I know it's just not something that I'm going to do? It's pointless. So it's like I was just worried about the impact it was going to have on not so much me, but my family, because they'd already been through so much heartache with what had gone on, and then what had happened leading up. So when I had did the podcast with you about, I think, probably about 2 or 3 weeks prior to that podcast, I started psychiatric counselling, which is something that my wife Sophie pushed for, because I'll be honest, what happened to me in the beginning, what I had to understand, and then having to live with the fatigue, something that we've all been tired. You go out, you'll go on a weekend bender and you're shattered, right? You'll go to the gym, you'll put yourself through the paces and you're shattered. But the fatigue of a stroke is just something that's just really hard to explain, because one minute you're up and you're dancing and you're wanting to do stuff. The next minute you're absolutely cream crackered. You can't do anything. You can't think straight. Things don't make sense. So it took me to a dark place where I ended up going out. I was filming. I'd come in. I'd just got to bed. Say to Sophie, I'm off to bed. I hardly saw my family because I felt useless. I felt ashamed. I felt that, because I couldn't do things, I couldn't go out. I couldn't, me and Sophie couldn't go out for a meal in the evening because I'd be too tired. Family would come round and I'd have to go to bed. So it just upset me that much, and it put me into a place where I just thought, do you know what? What's the point of all this? What's the point in me going out, pretending to be happy on camera, doing the videos? Because at that point I wasn't happy filming, because I just didn't feel the same. I knew from, listening to stuff back, I'd watch videos back and I'd be mumbling. I wouldn't be making sense, and it just put me to a place. And just one day I thought, I just don't want to be here. And I got to that point, and I spoke to Sophie about it, and she was just petrified and speaking to the doctor. And she actually ended up just going to the doctor herself and saying, look, if you do not come and see him, because he ain't coming here, because I won't go. I'm stubborn, like a stubborn Yorkshireman. Can't be bothered with doctors. I don't want to go. And she just persisted. And then she said to me, will you just go this counselling? And I'm like, look, I don't want to talk to some stranger. And she's like, no, please go. And I went, and never in a million years did I think that talking about my thoughts and putting them onto a lily pad and imagine them floating down a river. You talk about that and you think, what a load of rubbish. But I thought, do you know what? I'm going to listen to this person, and I'm just going to, for Sophie and the kids' sake, I'm just going to take it in and do what she says. And by heck, it absolutely changed my life, because I just broke down. I let out so much emotion. I taught how to deal with my anxiety, my stress. Talked about how to deal with the fatigue. We implemented things on how to do things different in my life, and I think because I got to that point of what I thought were no return, it needed somebody that wasn't around me to say, look, open your eyes, and help me to do that. And that's what this counsellor did, and I'll be forever grateful.
Because it's often the case, isn't it? Like, if you don't have, it's if you're watching a friend going through a dodgy relationship, it's easy to give advice and they can't see it.
Yeah.
But when you're from the outside looking in, you can probably give more sound advice, and sometimes they don't want to hear it. And obviously it was like yourself. To go to that point where you're thinking like you don't want to be here, it just goes to show that anyone who's been through, whether it's a stroke or whatever kind of thing that they've gone through, it can take you to a place where you're just ultimately feeling like a burden, and you're not that person that you once were, and you kind of lose a part of yourself. But what I will say is, Danny, when we did that podcast, obviously I didn't know you had a stroke.
Yeah.
And yes, I never knew you before that, so I couldn't tell if there was a change in you.
Yeah.
You seemed absolutely fine. You didn't seem like a bloke who'd had a stroke or two.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, the end some people's lives, them things. So you're clearly meant to be here, mate. Do you know what I mean? If you can take some kind of light from that, like there's a reason you're here, there's a reason you're making these videos, you're doing something for a reason. But can you now look at them videos and think, I wasn't right there? Right there. So, and they're still on YouTube?
Yeah, they're still there. From that period, you can see like people, there were comments on there of, oh, you're feeling all right. You don't look yourself. You look a bit disheveled. Oh, you look ill. So it's like now, I sound a little bit bunged up, and that's because of what it's done. It's like affects my sinuses and everything. So and then when I get tired, it sounds like like hay fever symptoms, or I'm a bit sluggish and stuff like that. So I can see that in the videos, and when you first see it, because it's not you, it's hard to deal with. So I've had to adapt to the fact that is now me, right? And I've got to deal with it, and I've got to be strong for the people around me, and I've got to try and do the best I could do. And creating content is such an amazing thing to be able to do, and have such a following of fans that I've got is just so heartwarming. And when I put out the video with me and Sophie, talking about it, because obviously I did the podcast with you and I was so close to talking about it on there, because prior to that podcast, I'd just had exchanges with you via Instagram. So you contacted me and said, I'd love to do a podcast with you. And that's all we had. And we had a half-hour chat beforehand, and I felt comfortable talking to you. I've been on some podcasts with people, and it's just been in and do the podcast and go. You know, I've done radio interviews, in, go, and there's not been I've not felt as comfortable as what I feel around you.
I appreciate that, mate.
It's like you're one of my mates. So I was so close. I remember going home to Sophie and saying to her, I nearly said something on this podcast, you know. And I'm like, I just need to prepare for it, because that's what scared me the most. And then I filmed another podcast with a friend of mine, and there were no intention of talking about it at all. And the conversation just led to a point where I felt I could say it. So then I went home, I spoke to the guys at Rate My Takeaway and said, look, I've said about it on this podcast. That's going to be aired in a week. We need to address this before then. I don't want my fans knowing, you know, no disrespect to you or anybody else. I just felt I owed it to them to come on from me on that channel. And then also, me and Sophie have got the Mr. and Mrs. Yorkshire YouTube. So the same with that. And so me and Sophie filmed a video, and that was probably one of the most emotional ones I've done, because I could see the emotion in her as she's asking me these questions, what she went through and what she still goes through now with me, with, you know, because I still have mood swings. I still have times when I get down. It still does, you know, affect me. I took the kids to Alton Towers the other day, and it got to like 3 o'clock, and I swear it was like I'd walked 100 marathons. I was that tired. My knees would hardly move. My brain just wasn't engaging. So it does get frustrating and stuff like that.
Did you ever think it was going to finish you? Like, did you think you could have died from them?
Yeah. I mean, that
does that worry you now as well? Like, one's going to get another one.
Yeah. So, and obviously, like, people say that, well, why do you keep eating food? Why do you do this? And, you know, I'll be as honest as I can and say that, you know, what you see me eat on that video, that is all I will eat. And it is not a lot. I try little bits. I'll have 2 or 3 bites of each thing. Right? Now, obviously, exercise is a big thing. Obviously, you know that, doing what you do. And it's something that I'm trying to get my head around. And I've got a swim spa, so I do a bit of swimming every day. You know, I'm in there, and that relaxes me, and it's a lot easier for me to do exercise, obviously, because it's in water, and I do some body movement stuff in there, working with the physio, doing stuff. But because the fatigue was that bad,
yeah, I get that.
It's something that I've got to progressively do.
Yeah.
So I am making small steps in that area, and I am physically trying to better. I have changed my diet at home for stuff that I eat. So I'm a big lover of biscuits. I love biscuits. So if you just won't buy them now, I just said just don't buy them, because if they're in the house, I'm taking them. You know what I mean? I'm like cooking. Once I open a pack of biscuits, they're gone. All right, I don't care if kids are there. Tough. All right, they're mine. I'm having them. Go get your own. So I just don't have stuff like that now, because I know that I'll eat it. Because I'm not naive to think that it wasn't something to do with the weight. So when I spoke to the doctor, we think it was more to do with the stress.
Right, I hope you're all enjoying the episode so far, and if you are, do us a favour and hit that like, press that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you are notified when the next video goes live. And the reason I tell you to do that is because the majority of people who watch these videos aren't actually subscribed, you little tinkers. And we work tirelessly to bring these episodes to you every single week. Travel up and down the country, put a lot of work into this, and we travel overseas and all to bring some banging guests here. So do us a favour and hit subscribe, will you? I was going to say, mate, because I like, even on the podcast we did, again, 250,000 people watch our podcast, and I remember the amount of comments people were saying, please, Danny, stop doing these takeaway reviews. You're going to get a stroke. Obviously, you'd already had one at this point. But I know people who go to the gym and they've trained and they've had strokes. Like someone who was quite, well, not close to us, but he was an old manager of mine. He was young, he was in his 40s, went to the gym, played golf, fitness, died.
Yeah.
One stroke, I think it was around Christmas Day, died.
Yeah.
2 kids, all that. And it's like, it makes you think, like, I would always advise anybody, regardless. Like, I mean, I was a big lad when I was growing up. And I would always advise, like, you are going to prolong your life by walking more. But if you're not into the gym, you just have to go into the gym. I think that's a bit of a lot of people say you've got to go to the gym. I don't think you need to go to the gym. It just can be the little things, like, but you're already making them improvements anyhow.
Yeah, it's like, obviously, Sophie, she does PT and she PTs a few people. And I've had numerous conversations with her, and obviously she helps me out with some of the exercises and stuff. But I've spoken to her before about people that are overweight like me. I'm not, I'm a fat lad. That's it. I call myself fat lad. I'm overweight. And I said to her that, like, people come on and they'll come on my TikTok and they'll go, get to the gym, do this, and like I'll be arguing with people saying, look, it's just not me. I see people that go to the gym. Right, and some people go, and then they've got a full-time job and a family, and they incorporate it all in. Brilliant. But then I know other people that go, and it's their life. They get up, they go to the gym, they do a bit of work, and they're at gym at lunch, and they finish work, they're at gym at evening, and they're just looking in a mirror. And I think to myself, you know what? I'm probably going to spend more time with my kids than you ever will with yours, because you're so self-obsessed with how your body looks than you are. And for some people, it's not a health thing. They just want to be looking a certain way. Now, with Sophie, I'm lucky with the fact that, she will try and push me as much as she can to do exercise. So it's like, oh, well, what we're doing Saturday? Oh, we'll go for a walk here. Oh, we'll go to this cafe, but we've got to walk up this hill to get to it and all that kind of thing. So she will think like that.
Because the one thing I will say, and I'll give you this, Danny, as well, mate, because for you, if you're happy with the way you look, the way you are, the way you come across, you've got a min personality, brilliant business, clearly an entrepreneur, you're doing very well, very successful man. A lot of people, regardless, stroke or not, would kill to be in your position. I know that. Yeah. Of course they would. But at the same time, what I would say is, to back your point up, I know for a fact the majority of people who train is to look a certain way.
Yeah.
The health benefits are a nice added extra, but not many people, if I said to them, anyone watching this, would you go to the gym for the rest of your life? You'll never change your appearance. Would you still go? They wouldn't do it. They'd say it's a waste of time, I can guarantee. Don't get us wrong, there's going to be people who are, I want to improve my heart health and all. But you wouldn't know your heart health was bad anyway if you didn't have any signs or symptoms. So I do believe it is all aesthetics, but if someone's happy about the way they look in the mirror because they go to the gym, just as much right as what you have without going to the gym. So I don't think anyone can make the argument that you should get the gym more. I do think people who say you need to improve your health, of course, why wouldn't you? You'd want anybody to improve their health, even if they weren't in bad health. I get that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and obviously, because it's rate my takeaway, so it is takeaway food, and it's very rare you go to a takeaway and there's a healthy option. Let's be right, there's all these, box meals that are popping up with rice and chicken and all that kind of stuff. But who's going to want to watch me sit down and say, oh, well, this boiled rice is amazing with this plain bit of chicken and broccoli?
I think you should do it.
Yeah, but I've done it for some
place.
Have you done it? So I've done, like, is it Fuel Hub or something in Manchester?
All right, aye.
There you go. So I've done a few of these places because some of them are all right. But others, if the channel were just like, it's like desserts. We go and do a dessert place, people don't want to see it because, ice cream's ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you could argue that pizza's pizza, but then is it stone baked? Is it wood fired?
Is it sweet corn that's devil's food?
Yeah,
right. So I was going to ask. I might have asked this on the first one, but can you still review something that you don't like?
So I won't do sweet corn because I just physically can't put it in my mouth.
Okay. Okay.
but fish, for example.
Right, but let's just say you order a meal.
Yep.
It looks banging, pictures and that looks classy. You've been recommended. It's got sweet corn on it.
Yep.
Are you marking that down because there's sweet corn on it?
I just won't include the sweet corn.
Yeah, but then you're not getting the full taste of the meal.
But if it's like it's sweet corn, in it, it's, you know what I mean? What are they going to do with sweet corn? It's
but you know
corn on cob, we'll just knock it on the floor.
Right, okay.
So I think like the best example would be like, so with me, it would be fish. So I'm not a big fish lover. So I like cod haddock, I like prawns, cold.
Mm-hmm.
Can eat them warm sometimes, but it's not a preference of mine. It's not like if somebody says, oh, do you want these garlic covered prawns? I won't be like, oh, buzzing. But if it were a garlic steak, I'd be straight in.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been to Scarborough and I've done the seafood. So I've sat there and I've had freaking whelks and had my first oyster. Never had an oyster in my life before I did rate my takeaway. And, it slipped down my throat, and I says, blinking heck, that must how women must feel with that, like when it shot down that slimy thing. I'm like, whoop, just spat it straight back out. So it's like when I've done things like salmon, I'm not a keen lover of salmon, but I've had dishes, so what I've done is I've reviewed them, and I've gone, do you know what? Looking at it, it looks nice. Looking at how it feels, the texture of it is nice. It's served with a nice garnish. But as for the flavour, it's not a flavour that's for me. But if this was somebody that likes salmon, I would presume they'd like this. But then, like when I had a whelk, I had 2 whelks, and one was like a right old boat and one was soft. So I says, well, obviously that one's no good because it looks horrible, tastes horrible, not aesthetically pleasing, tastes crap anyway. So I'll mark that bit down. But I always say with a channel, it's my opinion anyway. It's my taste. I'm not saying to people, come here because this is the best in the world. I'm saying come here because this is the best I've ever had. So I said,
but you give it 10 out of 10 to a pie recently.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. So I give 10s all the time, right? But I said a year and a half ago that I wanted to give a 10-star, and I've just been waiting for this 10-star to come along, and it had to be something that when I tasted it, what can we like? So have you seen Ratatouille? Right, there's that point where he gets that Ratatouille, that food reviewer. He puts it in his mouth and it takes him back to when he was a kid. Right, I needed that moment. I needed something like that when I ate it, I thought, wow. So I goes to this pie shop. Right, gets recommended to go to this pie shop. So I'm rocking up. I'm thinking, right, yep. Goes in, sees all these different pies. I thought, yeah, they sound interesting. Let's get them. So they were like doner kebab pie, cheeseburger pie. Got their meat pie, which I thought was a pork pie, but it was actually beef. When you bit into it, it was warm. So all the jelly, because I says, I'm not too keen on pie jelly. And they went, oh, it's all right, there'll be none in. You bit into it, it just all leaked out.
That bit made me feel sick.
Yeah. Because I'm like, what the heck?
But do you see how it's subjective? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So and that's why I suppose when you're doing your reviews, people need to understand that this is Danny's review.
Yeah.
It's not, if people want to say that looks class, he loves it as well. But that review in particular, just being purely transparent, that didn't make me want to go there. Because
the thing. So like with that, I bit into that pie, that liquid jelly flew out everywhere, but then through the review, it's starting to harden up, and I don't like pie jelly. So I'm like, I could see it on table. I'm thinking, oh, what's this? Oh. But then obviously I bit into the kebab pie, and it was layered up. The pastry was just amazing, but the flavours were great, and I'm thinking, oh, that's nice. Right, well, let's try this cheeseburger pie. Then I bet cut that up, and then you could just see the layers of burger cheese. I don't like gherkins, pickles. I'll try them on the burger, and then I'll whip them out. But in here, with the sauce, it was amazing. And at that point, it had got a 10. Right, because I thought, I've really enjoyed this. And the last pie, one of my favourite, I love lamb. I love lamb and mint pie. If I go to a pie shop, if I go to a farm shop, if there's lamb and mint on, bang, that's the pie I'm having. And I got this pie and I bit into it. And oh my God, it was full of filling for starters. Pastry was just like the others, absolutely amazing. But the gravy, the meat was soft and tender. It had got this beautiful minty gravy. And it was like the best Sunday dinner wrapped in pastry you'll ever have in your life. That's how I felt at the time. And then I moved on to the dessert. The desserts were banging. But those pies, if I'd have possibly had them in a different order or didn't have one of them, might not have got that 10-star.
Right,
but because of the order that I had them in, the way that it tantalised my taste buds, by the time I got to that lamb one, my head was gone. And I've not, what I was waiting for is that feeling where I'd had a bite of something and at the end thinking, I want to finish this off. Everything that I give a 10 to, when I'm reviewing, I can walk away from. But that pie shop, I just wanted more.
Because I know that I want to get on the topic of, obviously, you've had a bit of publicity at the minute against another guy on YouTube. There's been a bit back and forth. And the kind of ethics around reviewing places.
Yeah.
The question I know that I would have asked myself when I first ever saw you, is he getting paid for this? Because you could literally make or break a business. You can.
Yeah.
I mean, for people who don't know this, the last podcast we did, I actually saw a man coming up to you. He was nearly in tears how much you'd changed his life for the better.
Yeah.
And you just by doing a review.
I think it was from a cafe, wasn't it?
Aye, that's right.
Up,
And I couldn't believe. I thought, fucking, like when I saw that, I genuinely thought, I can't believe you're changing lives like that. But at the same time, you give someone a dodgy review, it could ruin their business.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can tread lightly with a role or responsibility like that. How do you sort of get around when people want to pay you money, or do you just then avoid it? Because again, when you had, it was Food Review Club.
Yeah.
I'll say it, the back and forth that you had with him. And I know that obviously he was outed for basically charging places to go down and do reviews, X, Y, and Z. Someone with you, with your profile, your following, surely you must be getting this all the time, like getting offered cash here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, so from the beginning, when we started Rate My Takeaway, what we wanted to achieve was, because it had already been on Facebook with people posting pictures of takeaways. So you post a picture of your kebab or your pizza or what have you, and it'd go on there and people would comment and say it's good, bad, or it looks like an old shoe or whatever. And there were a lot of banter on there. So then when they decided to do videos and brought me on to be the presenter of Rate My Takeaway, I said that, I wasn't too keen on getting paid from the vendor, because I said, if you want me to be honest, I'll be honest. I said, and if we're going off people's recommendations, it's going to be predominantly good places anyway. So I wasn't really worried about wrecking somebody's reputation, because in the back of my head, I always thought, if you're recommending me to go somewhere, it's going to be good. So, we had a discussion and said that we wouldn't charge a takeaway, because we're not doing an advert, we're doing a review. So I'm going to taste it, I'm going to give my opinion, and then I'm going to rate it out of 10 what I think it's worth out of 10. So therefore, we don't need payment for this, because we knew we'd be getting the ad revenue from Facebook, from TikTok, from YouTube, and we'd earn money like that. So, Matt from Food Review Club, I've never personally spoken to the guy, right? Never spoken to him. Obviously, know he is, because me and Matt, we were level pegging on Facebook. 1 week I'd be in front, 1 week he would. He started 5 or 6 months before me. We'd already got the Facebook page, so that gave us a bit of an advantage. And then he did really well, to be fair. He grew his following way back in the beginning, and I used to watch his content. Thought, yeah, it's all right. It wasn't really, he reviews it well. He goes in deep on food, right? And I respect that. And his knowledge of food is amazing. His knowledge, his palate for flavors. He can go in and he can talk about, exactly sometimes what ingredients are in that burger. Which is amazing. As somebody watching, that's what you want to hear. So, and he did his thing and I did mine, and we just never sort of crossed paths, but never spoke, never did anything. And then obviously somebody outed him in Cornwall for charging for reviews. Now I knew that he charged because, let's be right, I've been to some places that Matt's been, and I've gone and they've gone, oh, well, I've walked in, we walk in with a camera, we're filming, and then they'll go, well, how much do you want? So I turn the camera off and I go, we don't want nothing. I'm going to pay for the food. Oh, no, we'll give you the food for free. And I insist in paying as well, because, they've got to earn a living. So I'm walking into this small business or this food business, no matter how big or small it is. And like you said, I'm going to make an impact. It's either going to be good or it's going to be bad for them, right? It's going to be one or the other. So I don't want to be paid by them to do that. And I sure as hell want to be paying for my food, so that they can't say that, well, we get it in for free. Why has he said that? Why has he done this? So I need to be impartial. That's me. That's how I feel it should be. Now, obviously with Matt, he did what he did. He did a TikTok video. I got 5,000, 6,000 messages, emails. It was ridiculous within that first 2 weeks. So I decided to address it. And I decided to address not only that, but address a couple of things that had gone on over the years where I felt that Matt were saying comments about myself and about the channel that he didn't really need to say. I'd not responded to them. So in my book, I did refer to him as a bully, which I still stand by that, because I do believe that if it's banter, because that's what he referred to it as, if it's banter, then it's to and fro. Oh, you're an idiot. No, you're an idiot. Oh, you're an idiot. That's banter. But if somebody persistently just goes in on someone, comments, says things, says little innuendos towards them, and there's no response back, for me, if you continue to do that, you're being a little bit like a bully, because, there's no response. That's how I feel. And again, that's my opinion.
Antagonising someone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Make sure that's still all right, because I'm booting microphone here. So I said that, all right. But then I also said about the key thing for me, right, well, this whole thing with him was he's getting paid, right, which I've got no problem, right. If he wants to charge people, right, that is fine. He's got a business, like he said, he's got people to pay, he's got a 10-man team, right, which is fine. If that's what he's got, if that's what he needs to pay, if that's what he needs to do to get by, then do it. The issue I've got is it's, for me, it's not a review, it's an advert, right? If you get paid, you need to do it as an advert. So you do exactly the same thing, eat the food, talk about the food, but then when it comes to the end, you just say, right, guys, come check it out yourself. There you go, I've showcased it, bam, done. But the moment that he says, and I'm going to give this a nice 9, why are you rating it when you've been paid? Because if money's changed hands, no matter how much you say, I'm going to be impartial, you can't. Because we've all got this little green guy inside us, little conscience that says, oh, he's just paid me 1,500 quid.
Yeah, you're going to say something nice,
yeah,
aren't you?
So it might not be that they get top marks, they might get an 8.5, but really, if you hadn't been paid for it, would you have given it a 3?
This is the thing, isn't it? But as I was saying kind of off air, a tip for him, if he was going again down that model and he wants to be paid for his videos, and I said it to you off air, like, I think everyone's got a different business model. I don't think there's out wrong with that, but you've got to be transparent and authentic with it, right? But what I would do is, if I was going to go down the route of charging someone, would be to go and do me review on the place I've managed to choose, recommend, whatever, do me review, then afterwards tell the vendor, I've done a review, I'm not going to tell you what the result is, do you want to buy this?
Yeah.
Because then it's the onus, the risk is on the vendor. If they want to pay him, but the review's shit, it's on them. They know the terms. Why has no one done that before? Have I just come up with a brilliant idea?
There might be. I don't know. There's loads of reviewers out there. I know loads of them, right? And a lot of these people as well went in on Matt and criticised him, but then they're doing the same thing. And they're going out and they're going to a place and they're charging him 300-400 quid to do a review or to put the name on the shirt or whatever, right? And then they're criticising Matt. That I don't agree with. I don't agree that, I'm safe in the knowledge that I don't do paid reviews, right? So I'm okay to comment on this as far as I'm concerned, because it's my opinion and I'm all right to say, if it was me, I wouldn't be doing that. But if he is doing it, it is up to him, right? Now, obviously, in that video that I did,
were you the first to come out about that?
No. Was I heck? No. So Matt. So when he did these videos, these reviews were in Cornwall. So the group of people in Cornwall and Cornwall Live, I think, and newspapers put it out there that he was charging it. The group of people wasn't happy, which is understandable. They wasn't happy that he was coming and charging these small businesses and trying to get them to pay. So he got outed like that. So then there's another guy who outs people, right? Who just sits in a room and says, watch out for this guy, watch out for that guy. I don't typically like him because I think what he's doing is earning money off basically
poisoning the industry,
trying to find issues with other creators. Instead of trying to create his own content, he just sits there and just has a go at people. And then there's a lot of times when he's had to retract things because he's gone, I have found this, I have found that, and then he's had to retract it because he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I've been given duff information. But he's already wrecked somebody's reputation. What I did is just give my opinion on one question, really. That was, is it ethical to be paid to do a review? My answer to that is no, it's not. If you're getting paid, do it as an ad, not a review. And that's all I was saying, simple. In that, I offered Matt, I said to him, if you want to meet up and talk about this, have a chat about it, I'm happy to do so.
Would it have been a talk or a straightener?
Mate, I'm happy to talk about it. Straightener is a big guy. All right, he's a big lad. He gets down to gym. He spends time in gym looking in the mirror at himself. Loves himself. Right? So,
I reckon you could take him.
Well, if I'm honest with you, mate, I'd knock him clean out.
There you go.
All right. If Misfits want to get me a mat on, I'm sure the people would love it.
Mate, that's a sellout event, that.
Wakey Wines. I know Wakey Wines. He's not too far from where we are now. He phoned me up and said, do you fancy coming on Misfits and fighting me on Misfits?
Did he really?
At that time, obviously, I'd just had the stroke, so I'm like, oh, what the bloody hell? I don't know if I can get in a ring. And he said to me, he says, it's 4 minutes, four 1 minute rounds. I said, it's not. He says, it is. I said, it's not, mate, it's 30 seconds, I'd absolutely annihilate you. I said, sell him prime at 100 quid. But no, he's a good lad. Right. He's a funny guy. Off camera, he's a funny guy. He's just milking what he's doing. But yeah, with Matt, I offered that chance for a chat, all right, which he never contacted me. He then went on a podcast, Jackmate podcast. I sat and watched that, and I just thought, and I messaged Jackmate afterwards, and I said, I've watched the podcast. I says, you're a sellout, you're a chicken, really. Because, bottled it because he didn't ask that question. Is it ethical to get paid to do a review?
What do you think he didn't? Why was he dancing around
that? He
said had a chat beforehand.
I don't know. I mean, he said he didn't. I asked him that, and he says, "Look, everything that was spoke about, they put in. They didn't edit it." And I just think that anybody interviewing on that topic would have asked that question because that's what it was about. Should you get paid for doing a review? Not once was he asked that. If you give a score, should you get paid?
Because I've never actually seen that interview. What does Matt say about? Does he mention you in that?
It's more about like the talk about it, but it's more about he goes on about me with the bullying situation. So he talks about banter and how he grew up playing rugby and banter and all this. I'm same. You know what I mean? I'm part of a rugby team now. Which is all the legends. So I'm around that all the time. If you want banter, then I'll give you banter, but it's not banter what he's doing because again, like in it, he says in his video, Danny, you know that I'm not this talking as if I've spoken to the guy, and I haven't. I've got no beef with him. I've got no personal issue with him. He's in his lane, and I'm in mine. It's just that at that particular time, they've crossed over, and my fans wanted to know what my opinion was. So I felt because it was such a big topic at the time, I had to do that because I was being asked relentlessly, do you charge? Is this what you do? Bloody hell, rate my takeaway. I bet you're earning a fortune. Because it's like we spoke off this and said, if I went out and charged all the takeaways that I've reviewed £1,000, right? The reviews that I've done now, just off that alone, I'd be a millionaire. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And that's without the ad revenue. I understand the costs, the equipment, like what you've got here today, it costs money. Travel costs money. Getting the food costs money. Matt's like me and he goes around the world. It's not just one place. He's going around the world. He travels a lot more than what I do. So I've got no doubt that there's cost involved. Just the issue of ethics for me.
But he's also getting the ad revenue and all, isn't he?
Yeah,
Could that not cover the cost? Or
gets the ad revenue, but it's obviously the ad revenue YouTube to Facebook, TikTok, it's all totally different. All right, and you get a lot more on YouTube than you do on the other platforms. So when you're at the level I am, we're getting a decent amount of money in to split between the three of us, me, the cameraman, and the editor. So with Rate My Takeaway, the revenue that's generated is split between the three of us. It's not I get more than them. No.
Do you think with him in particular, mate? Do you think it could be a little bit of a jealousy thing? Because like that's what it.
I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I'll take this opportunity to say to Matt that what I said, I didn't mean to upset him, and I wasn't. having a go. And if I did upset him in any way, I apologise. I know that he's a bit disgruntled about the remark about bullying, but I think, I've sort of cleared it up with how I feel about it.
You said you'd knock him out.
And I'd knock him out. Yeah, clean out. Bang! Smash him into a pizza. But obviously, if he's saying that he didn't mean it in that way, then fair enough. I'll take that. And I'll take that off the table now because I'm big enough to do that and say that. And again, if he wants to chat about it, if he wants to meet up off camera, on camera, for a coffee and a chat, if you want to invite him on with me.
I tell you what, let's do that. Let's get you both on this podcast.
And if he wants to do that, I'm happy to do that. All right? Because being a creator in this world is more difficult than what people think. Right? And, sometimes paths will cross, wires will get crossed. And I don't hold a grudge. If he wants to sit down and hash it out, we'll sit down and hash it out. If he wants to call KSI up and jump in ring, like I say, I'll take his beard off. All right. He's from that there south. All right.
He looks like he can scrap, to be fair.
He looks like he can scrap,
he looks like
mate.
a bit of one of them, doesn't he?
Yeah, end of the day, a lot of people will say to me, bloody hell, you're a lot bigger than what you look on camera. Do you know what I mean? And I've worked on marketing butchers with all that camaraderie and all that kind of crap. Played rugby myself, so I know all that. So I can swing one. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know, Danny, when you said about being a creator's hard?
Yeah.
And when you had the stroke situation, everything you were kind of battling mentally and things going on, you did say that you had, a few episodes in the bank. I think you said 12 or something like that. Do you typically work like that? Just because with me being on YouTube, just out of curiosity, do you always bank content? How does your day look? Do you go out and film 5 videos, or do you might just do one here and there? Or
yeah, so when we first started, obviously I was working at the time, still working at the butchers, and I'd finish work and we'd go to a takeaway in Leeds or Bradford. That's why there was, in the beginning, there was so many in Leeds and Bradford, because I was doing it after work and I got my family at home as well. So I wanted to make sure that, because I was working in the butchers and also I was doing 50, 60 hours a week, right? So then I wanted to make sure I spent time with my family, but then also I wanted to film a few videos. So we'd do a lot in the local area. And then by the time, 8 months had passed when it went viral on YouTube, we got about 80, 90 videos. So we were just putting one on every day then. And it was like, wow, this is buzzing. They were all getting 100k, 150k. It was ridiculous.
Do you find that you grow more when you consistently upload like that?
Well, to be honest, we didn't have a clue what we were doing. Oh. So with Facebook, the editor knew the algorithm. He knew what was going on. He knew what to do on Facebook. He knew how long to put the videos on for. He knew we'd judge that, and we were doing all right, and we were getting a nice bit of growth. YouTube, on the other hand, works completely different. And the fact that, because obviously when I come in here today, you were asking me about what would it like to get to 100,000 and how long did it take. And when I turned around to you and said a week, you were like, what? Shut up.
Frightening, that.
And that's what happened. So, I were at home. I had 6 or 7 weeks off due to my ex-partner passing away. I were at home with the kids in a bit of a limbo, which we spoke about in the last one. And the editor decided, let's put some on YouTube and see how it goes. So he phoned me up and he says, right, we're on this. We're going to put some on YouTube, just see how they go. So I'm like, yeah, mate, yeah, whatever. Trust you do it. All of a sudden then, he phones me up, he says, I've put these videos on and this one's got 60k, we've got 60k subscribers. So I'm like, oh, is that good? Because bearing in mind, right, at the time I was like, what? We all right? I thought, what could I kick that? At the time, I was, 42, 43-year-old, working in a market, just got my head around Facebook. I was still wondering what bloody Facebook poke was. Somebody's poked me here. What's going on? Who's poking me? I'll do him. So I just got my head around that. So when he's saying to me 60k, I'm thinking, what is that, cash in bank? Whoa, what's going on here? We're off to Dubai, lads. And next thing, week passes and we've got 100k. Right? Then I'm on news. All the local news channels are putting me on. Then I'm on one show, and I'm sat up one show with a bleeding flat cap on. I'm from Yorkshire, me lad. I've got this flat cap on.
You're on the one show.
Yeah, looking like a right dummy on big screen, and they're like talking to me about it. And then like a few weeks later, we've hit 200k. And it's like, next thing I get the plaque through, and we did a video sat in Middleton at Tied at Pond, and I'm unboxing this plaque. And it's just like so surreal, because I'm thinking, what's going on? Then we got a call from Google, and obviously Google own YouTube, they're the same company. And they said to us, we're filming an advertising video for the advertisers. So basically like Nike, Barclays, all them that advertise on YouTube, they get a promotional video sent to them of, this is why you should invest in advertising on YouTube. So they said, we want you to come down to London, we'll put you up in a hotel. You come along, you do a little bit of filming, bring your table and chair, we'll get you some food, and basically there's going to be about 6 or 7 more creators there. Annie Mac's going to be comparing it from radio. We're going to film this thing. So I'm like, right. So we got that chicken shop date girl there. Mm-hmm. There was some guy that rides around on a bike with DJ gear on back. Mm-hmm. Somebody doing something else. And then me sat with table and chair and this burger. So basically Annie Mac's just like walking around past us all saying, they do this, they do that. And then, rate my takeaway, shot to fame for eating food. And I'm taking a bite of the burger. That's all I had to do. Burger's stone cold.
Was it?
Yeah.
Just sitting there.
But it was just so surreal to be a part of that. I then gets a message to say, in 2022, I've been awarded the UK's Breakthrough Creator of the Year award for YouTube. Don't mean out to me.
Yeah, cool.
Because I haven't got a bleeding clue what it's all about. Editors going absolutely berserk. Cameraman, they're like, oh my God, yeah, this is great.
How far into the journey is this?
So this were only, when it went viral, probably about 4 months.
All in 4 months?
In 4 months, yeah.
Were you making money then?
Yeah.
Good money as well.
As soon as it went viral, a month later, you get paid, and it was good money. It was life-changing money for me. The fact that, I'd gone through what I'd gone through with my kids, then thinking that, a wage has been lost. How am I going to live at home? How am I going to provide for my kids? When that first paycheck come in, all that went. So, it provided stability, and, you can see how I'm dressed now. I'm not dripping in gold and stuff. I've tried to be a little bit wise, because nothing.
You did show us your watch collection off camera.
In
the boot of that car that you got.
I'll have Matt on me now, right?
No, but that the thing is, what I just sorry for interjecting here, Danny. But this is what I love what you do for me. That you see that right there, that the fact that I give you a paycheck and you provide for your kids, people will look at you because I'll tell you a comment that just happened to me the other day. People will look at why you're eating food, doing this. That is the why for you. That is so much fucking bigger than anything else. Someone said on my YouTube not yesterday, the day before, I did a podcast, and someone said he's another knowledgeless idiot trying to avoid getting a real job.
Yeah.
And I thought, mate, and I didn't even bother reply. I just thought, you're paying people to edit the podcast. You're traveling. You're doing X. You're doing Y. You're trying to get locations. Bear in mind, I do have a business. I'm like, I can't even be asked to justify it at this point because the why is so big for me and why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I almost can't. I can't even let people know what. Do you get what I'm saying? So,
do you know what it is? People don't understand the amount of time, effort, energy that goes into doing what we're doing. So, and even when you've got, so like, I turn up and I eat the food, right? But then like you guys with the cameras, we're travelling, we're setting up, making sure it's right. Doing this is the easy part, chatting to you, that's the easy part. But then I'm then going to go away, you've then got to go away, sit, look through it, time after time, edit it, pick bits out. It takes time and effort and skill to get it right, to create that bit of content that then people are engaged in. So very early on, obviously when I first went viral, I had a lot of people who I know that have got businesses that used to come and say, Dan, can you give me a shout out? Can you do this? So I'd be like, yeah, of course I can. And then like my editor come to me and says, you need to slow it down because you're devaluing yourself and you're saturating the local Facebook pages. You go on and there's a picture of me at the butcher's, a picture of me at the corner shop, a picture of me advertising carpets, then a picture of me eating a burger, then a picture. And it's like people are just not going to want to see you if you're doing loads and loads of stuff. So I started to learn like the value in what I was.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody made a comment. I saw a comment today, very similar to what you said. Somebody says, influencer spelt backwards is unemployed. And I did that. I just laughed. And I thought, that's because you're jealous. So, like people will say to me, oh, you need to get a real job. This is more than a real job. So out of this, I've created Rate My Takeaway Kitchen, which has given a platform for local businessmen to open up takeaway restaurants, get into social media, grow their brand. If they're in there for 3 months or 3 years, I just want them to do well. So if they come in and they only last 3 months and they go away and open somewhere else and they've had that platform and that nudge, people now know who they are, happy days. I'll get somebody else in and do the same. I'm able to do that. I've got business investments that I'm in with restaurants, with sandwich shops. I've got a couple of bars, that I just don't shout out about because I don't need to, because I'm invested in it for a reason to help them get the best out of their business, and yet I get something in return, and it's a portfolio for me that I build that's great. Now, when people just like criticise influencers, I think to myself, there's a lot of us out there that do that look at how we're going to do it. So going back to like the Matt situation, again, I totally understand that he's got to get money for what he's doing. And I totally understand that, yeah, he can go out there and charge somebody 1,500 quid. For me, it's what they get for that. And yeah, they get a video, and yeah, they're going to get a footfall, but it's going to die off. So, I'm creating an agency where I'm going to be offering things, people to have videos, people to go down and create content on a 12-month contract so that it's going to be consistent. So it's going to help provide growth for the business. That's what I want to try and achieve, so that it helps people to do that. So yeah, an influencer for a lot of us just isn't about being on that camera and doing that one thing. There are a lot of other things that some people are doing. It's like you today. He's rocked up today. I thought to myself, hey, I've got to hold him be for final boss here with his haircut and his beard. Just needs his glasses and his ring. He speaks like him.
What a cheeky bastard.
Yeah, what a cheeky twat. But like that guy,
yeah,
all right, he's just gone out. He's done a bit of a shimmy. He's got a crap haircut and a big pair of gigs on. Right, bang. Somebody's commented on it up. He looks like he'd be for final boss. It's gone nuts for him. He's charging 80, 100 grand to go, whoop, whoop, wiki, wiki, wiki. Fair play to that guy. Right, get it while you can. But just be careful, because there's going to be people that are going to be saying, we'll get you this, that and other, jumping on bandwagon. Take a step back, take a breath, and look at how you can make this a long-term thing.
Because this is the thing as well, what people don't understand. Even if they look at like the Ibiza final boss, while he's topical, yes, people are going to try and cream him, but a lot of people think either they'll be haters or they'll be, oh, he's lucky, he was just happened to be dancing in a club or whatever. However, he'll have big boots to fill now, because he'll be getting creamed to bits by a lot of management, brand deals, all this type of stuff. So he'll have to appearances, doing this. Can you create this con? Can you say this?
He will be shattered.
That's what I mean. So people, yes, he'll be getting paid handsomely, but at the same time, he's not asked for any of this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, it is going to be a whirlwind for him. He's going to be loving every minute of it. There's going to be times where he's going to be shattered. They're going to be sending him here, there, and everywhere, right? Because something like that has got a limited shelf life. Because he's not. There's a difference, I think, between a content creator and an influencer, right? So, content creator is somebody that can go along, do the videos, do voiceovers, and showcase somewhere to go, something to do, right? An influencer is somebody that's influencing you to go to that particular place, to buy that particular food. So I see myself as a bit of a mix of both, but more so an influencer, because you're watching my channel, there's a takeaway down the road, and I'm influencing you to make that decision to go and try that burger, all right? The content creators are people that are hired, to go and do videos, to go and do certain things to make sure that, you know, this is covered, that's covered, agencies, people like that. Now, this guy, at this moment in time, is an influencer because he's influencing people going to Ibiza. All right. You know, if you come there, he's going to be there. He's going to be on decks. He's going to be doing this. He's going to be doing that. Is it going to last for him? I hope it does, because everybody in content creation, I wish well, right? As long as they do it in the proper way. I don't agree with, you know, people that do it like all these audit people that fly these blinking drones, that the content they're creating, they're not doing what they say on the tin.
Yeah.
Right? They're supposed to be there to do an audit of the area and show you what's going on in that warehouse, right? But they're not. They're stepping their foot over the security line so the security come out, then they're filming the altercation, and that's what's getting the views, because they're more, well, I can do this, it's legal to fly over here, blah, blah, blah. That's the video, what they want. So they're not auditing, they're just creating
drama.
Yeah. And that's, you know, for me, I don't like that kind of stuff because it's not honest. Now, if they come on and the channel was, today I've got Tesco staff to kick off, then to me it's like, go on, how have you done it, lad?
Yeah.
You know, because it's truthful. But when they've said, oh, we're just going to go do this, and it's not, for me, it's not right. So for this guy, you know, I wish him well, and I've been laughing about it like everybody else has. And the fact that, you know, basically people were taking the mick out of his do and how he looks, and now he's the one that's laughing. He's like, yeah, man, yeah, come and take mickey. I've just got paid $100,000 to go wiki wow one. You know what I mean?
What type of content are you consuming, Danny? Like, are you watching food reviews?
Yeah, so obviously, like, I watch other creators. So like, I like Gary Eats. So Gary come on the scene a couple of years ago. It reminds me a little bit of myself. His style's a little bit like mine. And if I'm honest, I've probably lost some of my fan group to Gary because of that. Because of, you know, sometimes people will get bored with me, so they'll jump onto Gary. There is a crossover. Me and Gary's done stuff together, and the videos have gone flying. They've been amazing because people like to see us doing stuff together. So I watch stuff like that. There's a couple of other food reviewers that I watch, like McMaster. I like him. He reviews food and he does cars and all that kind of stuff. A couple of local food reviewers that I watch, and then I like Martin and Bex. They're quite funny. I find them funny. Just a couple, just doing everyday stuff, doing pranks on each other, stuff like that. And I just, like anybody else, I just flick through TikTok and see the trends. And
do you think there's too many food reviewers?
I think
because a lot of people are starting to do that.
Yeah,
now.
I mean, everybody's trying to do it. It's one of the biggest things to do. You see other reviewers, celebrities trying to turn to it because they know there's a niche for it. The problem is that I see so many that have got similarities to what I do, to what Matt does, to what Gary does, to like Eating with Todd. Do you know what I mean? All of us that are at the top of our game in our niche, in our area. Because don't forget, I just do takeaways. Gary does everything. Matt does everything, a lot of takeaways, but he also does the odd restaurant. Like Eating with Todd, for example, he does a lot of things. So like, I've never spoke to Todd. You know, I've spoke to Gary, but I've never spoke to Matt, never spoke to Todd. But I watch the content, right? Because it's sort of in the genre that I'm in. And then you've got other people that come in, and sometimes I just think, oh wow, how have you even got?
Do you think it's not because it's easy? I don't want to say it's easy because it's not, but you've got to eat food every day.
Yeah.
So there's always a reason. Like every time I eat a Popeyes or a sandwich from somewhere, I think, well, I could easily take a video of this. Like, I know it's not. There's the edit and all, but like for filming podcasts as a content creator, for argument's sake, or having a platform on YouTube, took me a few years to get to this point, and we're still small little platform. But I love it, mate. I think it's class. I love having good conversations with people. I just thrive off it. But if I focus on the growth, it'll kill the want to do it because I'm like, fucking hell, I'm not where I want to be yet and all that. But I can't just have, I mean, for people who don't know, this is a 20-odd grand setup that we're sitting in right now. To get this on the road, to book a hotel room or a location, to get a guest, the DMs, the back and forth people potentially cancel, you can't physically do it every day.
I mean, I've not given you Milford room today, yeah, like, you know what I mean?
That's what I mean. So, and I know obviously that'll be bad. And so
You're in the area, so I'll knock it down from 1,500 to 7. Sorry, Matt.
fair enough, mate. So,
well, I'm banter now.
You're getting some hate for this video,
Yeah.
mate, I'm telling you.
They're going to set me on fire.
But what I mean is, it's very hard for me to do that on a consistent basis. Whereas eating food or something like that and filming it, I think that could be, there's less friction to enter this market. But people like yourself, you're already way ahead, so it's not something you would have to be concerned about. But I think there's definitely still enough food to go around. Pardon the pun.
Yeah, I mean, look at it again. You know, don't want to keep having a dig at Matt having banter. But like,
can't wait for the title of this one.
We are two separate. We review total different ways, right? We're two separate personalities. You know, I'm more like laid back, friendly. And like, mate, how you doing? Chilled out. And he's more like bullshit, one of the lads. Like, hey, look at this, you know, chava and all that kind of stuff. You know, so it's like it's two different things. But the beauty about it is you've got different audiences, so different people will watch it. So people will watch my stuff that won't watch him, that won't watch Gary, that won't watch Todd. But people will watch their stuff that won't watch me, right? They will hate me, which is fine. And that's what makes social media so great, and that's what's so good, because you can go on and you can watch exactly what you want to watch, and you can watch whatever you're into, right? And if you don't like somebody, you can swipe off it and move on. And I get it, people come up and I just go, oh, don't want to say the name, but
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean.
You're gone.
Yeah.
So it's your choice. So if you choose to watch it, right? So it's like when people are watching mine and the trolls are coming on and they're like relentless week after week, and they're like, oh, you're fat, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, oh, you're whatever they're saying, right? I'll laugh, because the next video they'll be on the same, right? And then somebody will comment on it, and then it'll turn into a thread of 30, 40 comments, right? And I'm sat there going, you're here and you're watching my video and you're trying to tell me how bad I look, how bad I am, just degrade me, really, right? But it is not going to stop what I'm doing. But what you're doing is you're putting money in my pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
So
They don't know. I almost feel like these trolls and that, they didn't have a clue what they're doing.
You're right. You hate me for whatever reason, right? You're putting these comments on, and yeah, some people will then jump on with you and join in and say, oh, yeah. But when you're doing that, that's what's getting the views, because then people are thinking, oh, I hope that video got over 100k. I'll watch that. Wait, is it 300? That must be a good one. I'll watch that. And it's not. It's because these clowns are coming on. And I'm like, happy days. You know, everybody that puts a nice comment on, I thank them from the bottom of my heart, because it's so nice and heartwarming. So going back to the stroke, when I put that video out, I was absolutely, sorry for swearing, shitting myself, right? Absolutely bricking it, because I thought that, you know, people are just going to be on and they're in on my family. And I'll be honest with you, when it went out, I was sat in bed that night and I was crying, and it was tears of joy because of the amount of love that I got from people and support. But then came, it's happened to me, Dan. This has happened to me. It's happened to my mum, my dad, my partner, my boyfriend, my brother, my sister. Loads of people messaging saying, oh, thank God you've spoke about this, because that's how I'm feeling. Oh, I'm so glad that you're able to speak about it. Now I can. And that's what I got from it.
Yeah, that's
and the amount I got of that you would not believe the amount of people that have had a stroke that have not told anyone. It's ridiculous, right? Because they've not come to terms with it themselves, because it is a difficult thing to come to terms with. Because as much as I don't want to say this, right? You know, I've now got a disability. That's what it is, because I've got brain damage. As simple as that, right? But I'm not hiding it. I don't want to hide it. I'm not also using it as an excuse and parading it around. I just want to get on with my life.
Yeah,
and I want to do what I do, and I want to create content. I want to be happy doing that. I want to be providing for my family, and I want to help as many people as I can.
If you don't know by now, I run a business called The Content PT. I create content for influencers, PTs, online coaches and fitness brands all around the world. So if you are someone who's in need for sexy content for your social media, or you really want to maintain a competitive edge in your industry, drop me a DM on Instagram.
And I think, and I understand you've got a massive audience, mate, but I think beneath all that, mate, the main thing is you and your family.
Yeah.
In what I'll say is, I mean, you've got a few kids, haven't you? You got 4 kids, 4 kids. No, got a few kids, haven't you?
5 at home, yeah.
5 at home, and the way I look, like, what a dad to have for them to look and go, he didn't shy away from what he was
they don't
battling.
think that all the time, mate. They do get embarrassed.
Nah, but you know what I mean? Of course they're gonna, but
especially when you've got a dad like me that'll dress like an idiot.
But there's gonna be a day when you're not around, mate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like, what a wonderful. I mean, how many videos have you got? 1,000 videos.
Yeah.
You got. They're gonna kind of, and he didn't
Well,
shy
they're there
away,
forever.
and he edited it, head on. And I think that is what someone can take strength from. It's the videos, the food reviews, and all that shit. It's nice. It's lovely to look at. A bit of entertainment, bit of escapism, whatever. But ultimately, and this is exactly what I said. I don't know if I said this on the last podcast, but I've done 140 odd conversations.
Yeah.
If I was to get hit by a bus now, or God forbid something was to happen, can you imagine me? I've got a 4-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
She's going to go, and that was me dad in his 30s.
And that's the thing.
How mince that?
We've all got us phone, right? I mean, I'm coming up to 46-year-old this year. So when I was younger, right, it was a camera, and you'd take a picture, and you'd go to the shop, and you get it developed, and you'd have the photos, and you'd have a photo album. We've now all got iPhone, Samsungs, whatever. We're taking photos, but how many of you actually sit and look at the photos from 2 years ago? How many of you sit and think, oh yeah, back in 2015, I went to Euro Disney or whatever? You don't, because it's on your phone. You get to notice it. So, like our lass, she'll download these photos and get these photo books and all that. And I think it's amazing because then you can look at them. There's blankets made. There's one knocking about here somewhere with kids on all over the place because we don't do it anymore because technology, everybody gets their phone out every day and they'll take a picture, watch a video, do something. It's all in front of his face, but we take for granted sometimes what is actually there and you don't see it. So for me, creating this content, very much like yourself, there's like 700 videos of me doing something that I enjoy, laughing with people, joking. So if something happened to me, that's there forever, right?
That's the thing.
You'll lose your phone, it's gone, because you haven't got the photos. If something happens to you and your phone's smashed to bits, nobody's got your password for your cloud, your family's never going to see them. If you haven't got physical photos, you can be wiped off the earth in a second. Do you know what I mean?
Savage, isn't it?
When
really?
you think about it, how it's changed over the last, 15, 20 years, you don't do certain things. It's nuts. So, and it's like, we Rate My Takeaway, we do a lot of sponsorship. And I don't go flying around saying about it, but I'm going to talk about this one lad in particular, right? I've known him, he's been a family friend for years. I've known his dad for years. And unfortunately, a few years ago, when he was, I think, 13, it was all over the news in Leeds. His friend died through knife crime at school. He got stabbed at school, died, and it was his best mate, and he didn't know how to deal with that. Right, his best mate's just been stabbed, died by another person at school. How do you deal with that? What do you do? And he went to a jiu-jitsu class. He focused his energy and his anger into that. And he approached me last year and said, Danny, would you sponsor us? So Rate My Takeaway sponsored him, as well as the butchers I used to work at and a scaffolding guy that I know. So we all sponsored him. And this kid, right, has just gone from just learning this craft over the last couple of years to competing in events. I think he's done about 15 events, and I think probably only one he's not won.
No.
And he's gone in there, and like people that have been doing jiu-jitsu since they were babies, he's now 15. He's just wiping the floor with them, and they're all like, "Oh, he's arrogant. He's look at this," and he's not. He is just super hyper focused on this, learning this skill, learning this trade. He enjoys it. He's had this go off in his life. He's campaigning against knife crime. He's just absolutely amazing. He got Warrior, that do the protein bars and all that. They now sponsor him as well. Yeah, they sponsor him because they can see what's in him. And I'm actually out with him tonight. We're going out for a meal tonight to a restaurant, and I can't wait to see him because I've not seen him for a bit. I speak to him over Instagram, speak to his mum and dad weekly over message. But for me, it just goes to show that he's had a lot of stick from a lot of people within that world that don't like him because he's rose so fast. And that is it. Because he's rose so fast, but he's using social media to do it as well. He's doing videoing himself. He's putting it out there. Obviously, it's sponsored by Rate My Takeaway, so that gets people talking already. Oh, but how do you know Danny? Blah, 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 and all this.
But even you being able to sponsor him must be a rewarding feeling for you as well.
Yeah, and do you know what? It's not like I'm ploughing loads of money into this kid.
Yeah.
Basically, they wanted funding to get the kit.
Yeah.
It's not a lot, but it then gives him an identity on his top. And this is the power of social media. So all jokes aside, with the beef for final boss, you know, you might see him up front of a bloody Newcastle United shirt as a sponsor next year. You never know how big it gets. This is how stupid social media can be, because it can turn things. So Spud Bros, for example, and all them guys, they messaged me the other day, selling jacket taters in a van, right? They've then got Mr. Beast coming down to the van, which is the biggest creator on YouTube. He went down to their van to buy a Spud and put a Beast bar into it, right? They've franchised out. They're now official shirt sponsors of Preston North End. So it's Spud Bros on the front of the shirt. They're absolutely killing it because they've grabbed the bull by the horns and they've gone, buh. Every opportunity that has come, their business decision has been bang on and they've smashed it. And they do the same. They help people out. They're not, you know, I think if you give to the world's going to give back.
Yeah.
And
I always say it, mate, if you're a good person, good intentions, you've got good art on you, you're going to find your way.
And that's why I think I've got to where I am, because I've been like that. Because, you know, if I walked out of here now and somebody asked me for a quid to get a sandwich, if I've got a quid, they're getting that quid, right? Don't get me wrong, I've had loads of people message me for money, you know. As soon as you hit that thing, you get people messaging you saying, oh, I can't afford to put my gas and electric on. And I wish I could help people like that. But you've got to be realistic. You do one, you do them all. So I'm firm in the fact that there's a few charities that I support and I help out. And every year I set aside a budget for sponsorship for local community things. So we've done, like I said, we've done that, lad. I've sponsored before a young lass that does motocross. Got sponsored her to do motocross, which I just thought were wonderful, that a young girl is entering a sport that's dominated by young lads at that time. Let's get in there, let's help them. I've done football teams, rugby teams, netball, dance troops. Do you know what I mean? I've done all sorts of stuff.
So that being said, Danny, because I did want to ask you this. Obviously, since the last one, I kind of knew where you'd shot up to and stuff. But because I'm on YouTube, I understand how revenue works. I'm not going to ask you what you made. But what I am going to ask you is, being that lad growing up and you know, when you couldn't even afford to look after your kids really at one point, you were really struggling. Yeah. Has money changed you?
Has it changed me?
Aye. Are you the same Danny as that I would have gotten 10 years ago?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. You won't see me no different. You know, I'm not going out.
You like your trainers, didn't you?
Yeah, but at the moment I'm on Crocs. So since I've had the stroke, difficulty with
putting them on and that.
With my ankles and my legs and my knees and stuff like that swelling up. So again, this is something that I'm working on. So I think like since last year I've probably bought 3 pair of trainers, which usually would have been around 10 because I do love my trainers.
Yeah. What's your favourite? What trainers?
I like Air Force Ones.
Right, okay.
I love them. But now I've gone into Crocs. I've got my Simpson Crocs and I've got the Krusty the Clown pink ones, which I went to an awards ceremony. I had a tux on. I had a jacket that was made for me by IK Collections in Bradford. £2,000 it was, this jacket. And he wanted to gift it to me. And I says, buy it, mate, it's going to cost you more than that, like with the material for me, you know what I mean? There's a few more sequins need to go on it than what... Because he does things for, like, he makes them for King Charles, he did one for Daniel Dubois, the one that he wore for his fight with the different coloured things. So he makes all them, this guy, right? And he said to me, he says, look, I want to make you this jacket. So I turned up at an award ceremony, I got the jacket on, I got the black trousers for the tux, and then on my feet, I got pink Crocs with green Krusty the Clown ears, Simpson logos on it, And I'm like, I walked in and people are like, oh my God, look at Jackie. Oh, look at his Crocs. And this is the thing, right? So before being an influencer, if I'd have walked in like that, one, I probably wouldn't have been let in the building because it would have been dress code shoes, right? So I wouldn't have been let in the building. Two, people would have laughed their head off and gone, what is this Looney Tune doing? But once you're an influencer, you can wear what you want, mate, I'm telling you. And people just go, hey, up, look what he's got some balls out, lad. Look what he's wearing today. So you can dress like an absolute clown, right? Which I did. I had clown on my feet. And people think it's great. And they're like, oh, I wish I had them on. Oh, you've got balls doing that. And I'm like, yeah.
Do you know what? You know, you're kind of, sounds a bit mad, but like your rise to stardom, really. You went and done it and you're at a place, again, unbelievable where you've got to. Did many people around you change? Like friends that you would have once had, or have you lost any friends along the way, or have you had any jealousy or out like that?
No, so like I was very close to the guys at Malcolm Michael's Butchers. We were all a close-knit team because obviously we'd just been through COVID. We were allowed to stay open. So we supplied a lot of meat around Leeds, Bradford, Doncaster, Sheffield. We were delivering all over. We'd always been close. So my rise, and that's where it sort of started from. I was doing videos at the Butchers. That's where, the lads from Rate My Takeaway saw me there, doing the videos there, then contacting me. So it sort of started there. And I still keep in contact with those guys. I was talking to Malcolm last night over text. So, like for them, I think they were like, yeah, up it, because Malcolm, my old boss, I remember I met Sophie when she come to interview me at the Butchers for Yorkshire Post, because she's a journalist, right? And as I walked through the door, I walked through the back door of the Butchers, because obviously I wasn't working. I walked through, and Malcolm went, here he is, out for now, Dan. Because that's because I was a bit of a wheeler dealer. Mm-hmm. So and that's what I did. Obviously, I was selling meat for a living, salesman, trying to get the best deal. So if I can get out for free, I would on it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I'd always try and give something in return. You know what I mean? So it's that group of friends never really changed. If anything, there's just been a bit more distance between us because of how busy I am, which is a shame. So I do miss that. I did have people phoning me up that I've not spoken to since I was at school, and messaging me saying, oh, will you come to my pub and review this? Oh, will you come and do this? Oh, will you come to our pub and host a quiz? Mm-hmm. No, because if I hadn't been on YouTube, you'd have never spoken to me.
Do you find that it's hard to say no to people who, like, if one of your mates were like, oh, do you feel like it's your duty because the power you've got, the pull? Like if someone opened not a barbershop, but like a Butcher's, right? One of your mates, old school friend, would you go, actually, I'm going to go and give it a review just because why not? Or would you be like, actually, no, because if it's shit, I'm going to have to...
Yeah, I think because of how close I am with my closest friends, my inner circle, if you like, they never ask me for anything. Mm-hmm. They've never asked me for anything. It will be me volunteering, right? So like with the Butchers, for example, I know that he does stuff for charity, and Christmas time he does a box. So I'll go up there and I'll do videos, I'll promote it. I did my Christmas videos. I made sure one of them, I got him in there. I was down at his shop kicking football up in air and all that kind of stuff. And so it were all in background of the video. So I'll try and do stuff like that. What I'm talking about is outside of that inner circle, people that you've not spoken to for years, they're the ones then that, because they know you, or they've known you, if you like, they're the ones then that can see the advantage in getting you in for their business. And I think you've just got to be a bit firm and say, well, to be honest, mate, I've spoken to you for years, why would I? But then, like, if I just happen to bump into somebody that I've not seen for years and, we sat in their pub, whatever, yeah, and I'll do a little post because, it's no skin off my back doing it, really.
Yeah, of course.
Unless it's time. And time's the most precious thing. You've got money, you've got time. A lot of people spend all their life, right, all the time trying to earn as much money as they can, right? That's what they're doing. So they're spending all the time trying to earn money, right? I now find that I'm spending money to buy time with my family. I'm paying somebody else to do this because I need to spend time with my family. That's the most important thing. So do not spend all your life all your time chasing money. Chase time, because time's more important. And I think after having the stroke, that's what become, to me, that's more important. So like when you asked earlier about like the filming schedule, what we decided to do, in the beginning, we were putting loads of episodes out. Then we got it down to putting out 3 a week. So the filming schedule will be at the beginning of the month, that first week, I will do 3 days. And in those 3 days, we'll film 12 episodes, 3 a day. So we'll do one in the morning, lunchtime, tea time.
So you just do 3 days a month?
So we do those 3 days, and then the following week, I'll do 1 day. So we do 4 days in total. That gives us 12 episodes. Unless I've got a holiday planned, then I might have to do...
And are you putting 3 out a week?
Put 3 out a week. So those 4 days, we do 3 a day.
It's mad, because I know you've got a lot going on outside of that, but it's mad to think you're only actually filming for 4 days.
Yeah. But within that 4 days, if we can get those 12 in, so summertime, bang on. But as soon as the weather changes and it's winter and it's darker, that's harder for us because we film outside with a table and chair. Takeaways don't open till 5, a lot of them. So that only gives us like an hour window if we're lucky. And if there's lighting, it's like we don't use lights, we just like the natural light because we've tried all the lights before, it doesn't work. People just want to see it how it is. So we've got to use natural light. So then when it becomes winter, then it might have to be that we're filming 1 day a week, 2 days a week. We have to change it up. But summertime, I love it because basically from sort of like April up until back end of September, we can film 4 days a month. And then it gives me time to do other things. So I've just got back from Malaysia. So we did 3 weeks and we did 3 days each week. So that it allowed me to have the 2 weeks off. And then whilst I was there, I filmed 3 videos. So then when I got back, I had a week off as well. So in effect, I had like 3.5 weeks.
So just for people, because I think people will want to know this. If you're in one of your days, do you literally go... I know that you don't eat all the food. You'll give it to the editor, cameraman, whatever. Sorry. Is it literally going to a restaurant, quick nibble, quick review, next one, same again?
Yeah.
And when you do that, are you full? Like, have you had enough food, or do you still come home and have your dinner? Like,
no,
or you're like, no, I've eaten enough today. That's
when on a filming day, especially if we're doing 3, I don't eat nothing else. I don't eat breakfast. Go out, film. I won't eat anything else when I get in. That's me done. If I'm honest with you, and this is the thing. I'm a big guy, right? So you expect me to sit down and eat loads of food. I've had nothing to eat today. Right? I'm not hungry. Sometimes I will only have 1 meal a day, and it won't be a massive meal. And that's the problem that I've got. You work in fitness, so you'll know about nutrition and all this, and your body, you're supposed to put certain things in your body at certain times of day, have breakfast to keep your metabolism off, all that kind of stuff. Because I don't do that, this is the issue that I have. Sometimes I don't eat enough food. So my body, whenever I have something that's got fat in it, it's grabbing it. Storing the fat, storing the sugar, and all that kind of stuff. And I've had numerous conversations with doctors and nutritionists. And funny as it is, I went and studied nutrition and I'm level 3 qualified as a nutritionist. Yeah, no bull. Right, so I can show you my certificate. I've got it in my record of achievement. Alice loves it when I bring that up. So I know all about it. So I know what I should and shouldn't be having, and I know how I should be. But again, it's a mentality thing, and it's how, it's about willpower, how strong you are, but also other factors in life. And don't forget, your biggest demon is yourself. The biggest demon is your own mind. So you can tell yourself not to have it. You can tell yourself you're too busy. You can always find an excuse. People that shout and say, there's no excuse, get to the gym, do this, do that. To me, you're just talking absolute rubbish.
I think it's just purely moderate. I mean, on the way down, I drove past somewhere that I'm going to go there hard after this. I'm starving. Yeah. And I think, but I know for the next 6 days, I'm not going to be touching that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not exactly Adonis, but do you know what I mean? I'll still try and think, right, I've had that for the week. I'm not going to... It's just learned behaviours. That's all it is. But I think... When you're not filming, Danny, what's your food like on a normal day? Are you waking up, toast, dinner, cereal? What you?
A lot of the time, I don't have breakfast.
Right.
If I do have breakfast on my day off, it'll be slices of toast. Like I said before, I used to eat a lot of biscuits. I've cut them out now because that was the issue between I could eat a pack of biscuits, get the chocolate hobnobs out, mate, they're gone. If you brought a pack today, I'd be fighting you. I'd be knocking your beard off, mate, for them. Bang. But yeah, so like my favourite food, my favourite dinner is a roast dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I love a roast dinner, but I also like a lot of gravy, Yorkshire puddings, you incorporate all that kind of stuff. That's where it comes in. My favourite meat, I'll probably say is a pork loin. I like a pork loin with a nice bit of crispy fat on top.
Mm-hmm.
I like that curl bit that comes around the eye. That's a nice bit of fat. I like that on the pork. So eating that, all the time probably isn't good. So I have to moderate what I do with that.
What about on an evening?
That's an
Or
evening.
is that your evening?
Yeah, that's not my breakfast, mate.
No, that's dinner though, isn't it? All right, so we call it breakfast, dinner, and tea.
Yeah.
So, what do you have for your tea? Or
Well, that'll be it.
All right, okay.
So, like, sometimes I can go all day. So, like today, what we are now, I probably won't have anything to eat till I go out tonight to this restaurant. There's no point me having out. So sometimes I can go all day and not eat anything, and I'll just go home and have my tea. So it'll be a nice roast dinner. If I do have something for lunch, it's most like a sandwich, something like a cheese and pickle.
Do you order takeaways?
Saturday night, it's takeaway night in my house.
What's your go-to takeaway?
I love a kebab.
Do you?
Definitely love it. So it's going to be naan bread, and I like a mixture of doner meat, chicken tikka. So basically, for me, it's either kebab, a Chinese, or a pizza now and again.
We don't have to mention it, but do you have a go-to, or are you one of them who just try different random ones?
I have a go-to. I've got a couple of kebab places that I like to go to because I just, I think you find the one that you like, don't you? A lot of people do. We all scroll down all these delivery apps now. It's a lot easier now because you've not got a drawer full of menus and having to phone up and wait in a queue. You can just whip your phone out, go on a delivery app, and that's it. You're looking at it all. A lot of these delivery apps, there's photos on them of the food, but they're all generic. So you'll look and you'll find that kebab's in the same one as Bobby's round corner and Jimmy's up south. You know what I mean? It's the same picture. But like definitely Chinese. I have to find it. So like I've moved around the last couple of years, and like when I lived in Morley, the Chinese that I went to absolutely loved it, and same thing every time, bang. And then when I first moved to Wakefield, I think I tried about 13, 14 of them. And it was just so frustrating because I just couldn't get the same sort.
That Bobby's, was it Bobby's in Leeds? You went to opposite the Hyde Park pub?
Yeah.
That looked unbelievable.
Well, he's got one of them in my food court. And that's nice. That if you like salt and pepper, then that's top of the game for me. But my typical Chinese order would usually be like either I like shiso pork or I like a beef and mushroom. I like a special fried rice, chips, curry sauce, and then I'll get duck in pancakes. That's my order.
Perfect, that mate.
There's usually enough for next day as well.
Won't
eat it all. And then pizzas. Do you know what it is? I like the cheap ones, like like the
stodgy, greasy,
the like kebab houses that
wedged in
you
garlic.
You think to yourself, I'm not going in there.
Mate, I'm starving here.
I like them. And then if I have a burger, when I'm reviewing, I'll review all these smash burgers. But I like frozen fairground burger. That's my thing. So
mate.
No, honestly.
They're vile, them.
Mate, I love them.
Do you?
Salt, yeah.
Fried onions and that.
Fried onions, bit of ketchup, slice of cheese, bang. Floured bun, love it. It might just be a generational thing. Don't get me wrong, I like the smash burgers piled up with the cheese and the bacon and the, chili jam and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, the flavour's great. But if you put one of those, a double cheeseburger made like that, with the old, like, fairground burger and a smash burger, I would go, fairground burger any day.
Would you?
So when I reviewed the pound burger in Blackpool, it was a 10 for me because for a quid to get that, I was buzzing. I thought every time I cut a Blackpool, now I'm just going to pull up with a tenner and say, fill it. You know what I mean? Get it in there.
The kind of final question I've got for you, Danny, because I think it's something that's always interested me. I mean, I kind of know the industry, how things work, but I'm certainly interested by it, and a lot of people will be. You've had obviously like the Toddler T, Eddie All, people like that on your platform, on Rate My Takeaway. How do you manage to get these type of people? Does that come with having a big YouTube channel? Is it relationships you've already got? Do you reach out to them? How does it work?
Yeah, so Toddler T, that was a funny one because
is he with Annie Mac?
Yeah, so he's Annie Mac's husband.
Right.
So when I were in London doing the advert for Google, Annie said, would you mind staying afterwards? Because my husband, and bearing in mind I'd only been viral like 4 or 5 months, and she says, my husband wants to meet you. He's a massive fan, he's from Sheffield, and he loves it. So I remember I'm on phone to my editor, and he's like, how's it gone? Because me and Cameron had gone down. He's like, how's it gone? How have you got on? And I went, yeah, we're all right. I'm just hanging about because I'm meeting some guy called Tiddly Pop. And he's like, who? I went, Annie Mac's husband. And he went, Toddler T. I went, yeah, but what for? I said, he wants to have a chat. He's a fan. He went, oh, my. And like, he's into music, his editor. So he's like, oh, my God, he's massive. He's produced for Stormzy and all this, you know, he's crazy. So I'm like, all right. So I met him, and like, he's from Sheffield. So Yorkshire lads, we got on like an house on fire. And so I messaged him and said, do you fancy coming on Rate My Takeaways as my first ever guest, you and Annie? So he's like, yeah, let's do it. So I went down to London, first ever guests, bought this stupid double chair, carried it around London like an idiot. And then as I'm leaving, I just said to him, here, me and you should do a Christmas song for charity. It'd be a right laugh. Just joking. An hour later, I'm on train, and he's like, mate, I've got music producer coming down, I've got songwriter coming, come down to London, we're going to do this song. And that went from there. So then like Eddie Hall, I was sat on my honeymoon, and I'm flicking through content, sat on beats like you do, and a video come up with Eddie on. And I just thought, it'd be class to get him on a takeaway. So I just messaged him and went, let's send a message. Hey, mate, Danny, got a YouTube channel called Rate My Takeaway. I don't suppose you fancy coming on as a guest. Within 5 minutes, ping, he's like, oh my God, mate, yeah, I've watched your content. I love it. I love what you do. I'd love to come on. So I'm buzzing then, thinking, bloody hell, he's watched me. But I think the biggest one for me was, because like I've had Eddie on, I've had like Stephen Tries on. Stephen's done a few videos of me. I've done some with him and Max. I had Joe Egan on not so long ago. That was quite interesting speaking with Joe, because
he's been on here.
Mate, I know, and I'm talking to him, right, and it was funny as hell, because I'm asking him a question, I'm talking, and he's just got this burger, and he's got one of those fairground burgers, and he's like, yep, yep, and I'm like, what's your fingers, lad? So, but like, he's a nice guy, is Joe. Relentlessly messages you when he does a video. I'm sure he does the same with you. Can you post this?
Share this?
Yeah, but he's a sound guy, and I love his stories, and he's great. And out of all these people that I've had on, that it's been a privilege to have them at the table, and sit with him and eat food and talk. But I think the most memorable is obviously when I did the PO box, and I got a postcard through with some food on a table. I turned it over, and there's like, oh, I'm a massive fan of yours. I've sent you a message on Twitter, blah, blah, blah. And then a picture of Homer Simpson. I'm thinking, what's this about? And then I'm like, right, looks at names, so goes on to Twitter account, sees this thing. And it's from a guy called Josh Weinstein. So at first I thought, bloody hell, Weinstein, well, that's a bit of a dodgy name, checked it out, and he was the executive producer of The Simpsons Series 2 to Series 9.
Bloody hell.
They're on show, right? So, tapping away, oh, man, thanks for watching Rate My Takeaway. Message back. I absolutely love it. I've been in some dark times watching you, lifting my spirits and all this. If you ever come to LA, hit me up. I'd love to meet you. I'm on an American tour next week. Do you fancy meeting up? And he's like, message back, yeah, where are you? I'm in LA. Do you fancy coming on a takeaway as a guest? I would love to.
Did he do it?
So I'm there in this car park of the guy that sponsored, because the guy that sponsored us to go out to America at a special effects company in LA. So I'm stood at his head office. Next thing, this car pulls in, he jumps out, he's got one of my t-shirts on that he's bought from my merch store, I'd imported over to America. He comes up to me, he's shaking like I don't know what. I'm like, you all right? And he's like, I can't believe I'm meeting you. Can't believe I'm going to put your table and chair in the boot of my car.
He's the man behind The Simpsons.
And I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, I can't believe I'm speaking to one of the guys that has created, because don't forget, Series 2 to Series 9, these are all the episodes where Trump's on the elevator. Mm-hmm. All these episodes where people are saying there's time travel and all this crap going on. He's been the executive producer for these episodes with Matt Groening, right? So I text him to this posh Santa Monica Pier or Del Rey or something like that. We go to this burger place that he knows, and I'm interviewing him. And I'm like, are you a time traveller? Because what's happened here? And he's like, nope, we had no computers. We just sat there and we talked about different things for the characters, and we did these episodes, and all of a sudden, years later, things are happening. I'm like, right. So after that, then he's like, next time you come, let me know. Matt's not here at the moment. At the moment, he's flying around Hawaii on his boat. I said, well, I should have built him up. I'd have come with him. You know what I mean? I'll go to
Was
Hawaii.
that Matt Groening?
Yeah. So he says, next time you're over, he says, let me know. I'll take you down to Simpson's studio. You can meet Matt and go in his office. And I'm thinking, oh, buzzing. So I've then since then had conversations with him. This was like in 2022. He's been embroiled in some writing fiasco that's going on over there. But there are plans. He does want to do a cartoon using my voice.
Shut up, man.
That's what he's asked me to do. And he says at some point he wants. So
mega,
I've got that in the back of my head thinking, you know, if all else fails.
Can you imagine a Rate My Takeaway Simpsons episode?
Well, this is it. And I thought about that, but then I thought, I've seen these celebrities go on, and 9 times out of 10, they'll get shot or fall off a cliff. And if stuff's happening, I don't want that to happen. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm in my van, and then it goes off a cliff, and the next thing I'm driving down Wales.
Just see now, you're running up and jumping on the couch, table in front.
But what would be good, obviously, Homer pulls up at Krusty Burger, and I'm sat there with table and chair. That's the episode, innit? Do you know what I mean? Rating the Krusty Burger takeaway. Me sat there. Now then, guys, how you doing? And him going, what's he saying, that Yorkshire fella?
Final question for you, Dan.
Yeah.
Because you probably don't do it, but I'm assuming you've had offers. What you think? What the fuck's here now? How much is the centre bit on your table worth for advertising? Because that's got to be worth a lot of money. If I wanted my podcast name on your table, or my brand, or whoever's brand on your table, I mean, you're getting hundreds of thousands of eyes per day.
Yeah.
On that table. How much is that worth? Priceless. Is it? Would you not do it?
But the simple reason that we never had a sponsor.
Because you got Estabulo, haven't you?
Yep, up until Estabulo, which was not last January. So when I had the stroke, we were in the middle of the deal. And the deal wasn't even done. I had the stroke, so I needed to get that deal done. And that were a lot of stress sorting that out. Because we wanted a sponsor that wasn't directly involved with takeaways. We said we didn't want to be biased and have, you know, it'd have been easy for me to go with Uber, Deliveroo, Just Eat, something like that, you know, because they're always knocking at my door to do stuff. It'd have been easier to go with a big food franchise, takeaway franchise, and put it on, you know, Taco Bell, something like that. Some of them would have put it on. So I went and sat with the owner of Estabulo, and basically I wanted to find out what he was about, why he was doing what he was doing, and the backstory of the restaurants, and because he's got other restaurants as well. And to be honest, I just find him to be a sound businessman in the way that he, you know, if something's not working, he'll reinvent it, or he'll change it to something else. A lot of the places that he's got have all been different restaurants over time, but you'll find he owns them all. Because he just changes it. If he's not working, he won't just sit in the slump. He'll just reinvent it, change it. And I come to a deal with him for the van, the table, and the shirt. You know, it wasn't an advertising. It's not an advertising one where I'm going, this is, you know, each episode is sponsored by Estabulo, because it's not. It's just featured. It's just that basically the tables is the back of the van and the shirt. And it's a fee that is paid for us to be able to pay for the food, the van, the travel. That's what it is. So that fee covers a lot of our costs per month to run the channel. So he's getting a cheap deal there, mate. Yeah, because I could charge an absolute fortune. I know you could, but it's not something that you know. It's not a greed thing. And this is what I think I've always tried to say with Rate My Takeaway. It's not something where, you know, we could coin in on this. I was gonna say, mate, you definitely, like, even, I know it sounds mad, mate, but even for a UK based fast food franchise to have you as the face, yeah, it's worth millions. It's worth millions because they're not on YouTube themselves. Like, yeah, and I'm not adverse to doing that. Don't get me wrong. If anybody wants to make any offers, but no, I'm not adverse to that. It's just got to fit right with the morals of what I'm about. And it's like I said, I'm very much focused now that money is not everything. It's time for me, but also I need money to buy time, if you get what I mean. It's the world's difficult. Everybody's struggling. We all want to, you know, have the best that we can. But for me, I wouldn't want to be a sellout and said, you know what, I'm going to take Cebolo off. I want to put you on because you've just said I'm going to give you 100 grand to put my logo there. That it's got to have meaning for me. It's got to be something that's going to be, you know. And I'll be honest with you, the Cebolo deal, and I had another deal what was worth 5 times more, but that felt more ethical to me. So
fair enough.
Put the money to one side and looked at what were best, what I felt comfortable with, and that's how it works. And out of that, it's paid off because I was saying to you before, I've just signed a deal with Cebolo for part ownership of the Barnsley restaurant. So from the 1st of September, I'll own part of that restaurant. I'll be a business partner with them in that one restaurant in Barnsley to help bring it back because it has been slowly dying off there. So the aim is for me to get involved and bring it back to its former glory. And as a reward for that, he's given me shares within the company of the Barnsley one. So it does show you that, when you're kind to people, like I said, to him, I don't think he thought that I would have gone for that deal, if I'm honest. I think he knew that it were worth a lot more. But I just liked what he said. I listened him out. There's 3 of us in Rate My Takeaway, and I went and did that deal on my own. They didn't have a clue what were going on, the other 2 lads. And I went and I spoke to them and brokered it, and then I took it to them and said, and this is why I want to do it. They were like, right, fine. Yep. You know what I mean?
Unbelievable.
Because it felt right for me.
I think it's testament to your character, mate, to be honest. Like, again, how many people would have sold themselves out for that? And I think it's really nice to hear. Again, it just shows how organic the channel is, where it's got to. You could have coined in on this.
Yeah. And the deal, it's a 2-year deal that he's signed up for. And, most people would have gone, right, well, this is how much it is. Give me the cash. Was with me, that's how much it is.
When does your 2 years run up?
It comes next year. Yeah, so we're into it. So I've got a few.
I'm going to be in touch, lad.
Yeah, so we've got a few months left. Right, but what I did with him is, instead of it being, give me that up front,
I
split it over the months.
Time, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
looking after him as well.
It just shows, that then it's his restaurants are doing. If they're doing all right, then it's paying. You know what I mean? It's working. To be honest, for somebody to pay the amount, I don't want to say how much it is, but for him to pay the amount that he has, in my eyes, for not getting a mention, if you like, which is probably the most I've ever spoke about it, I think it's a bit ludicrous. You know what I mean? Is he wasting his money? But subliminally, the branding's there. People, what's that on his shirt? What's that on his table? Why is that bull's head there? That kind of thing. You know what I mean? So they'll go in and they'll have a look. When I did the American tour and we had Parliament sponsors, a company called Parliament, that was because I drove past Barnsley football ground and said, if these lads don't sort themselves out, I'm going to go in the dressing room, kick him up backside and meet the new manager. Next day I get a phone call from Barnsley Football Club to say that one of the sponsors wants my number. Don't want to speak to me. I'm thinking, oh crap, I've run the wrong way. And he's like, phones this guy up and he's like, hey mate, my name's Phil, I'm from Barnsley. I've lived in LA for 20 years. Absolutely love watching your videos. I sit down with Al, I 7 night time, watch it, gives me a piece of home. He said, I run this special effects company. He said, I'd love to do something with you. I said, well, as it happens, mate, I'm looking for a sponsor to sponsor a trip to America. He went, yep, I'll do it. So he paid for the trip. So I put him on my shirt, put him on the table. And that's the first thing I ever put on the table with Parliament, just put a sticker on. And we actually had that made in New York when we got there. Well, we'll get a sticker on the table, bang. And I had the shirts done. And he paid for the trip. But I got like a letter through from bloody somebody reporting me for Ofcom for not marking it as paid advertising. I'm like, well, I'm not advertising. Because there are rules around this. Because when you mark it as a paid advertisement, there's got to be certain stipulations. The people that's paying you has got to basically tell you what you're filming. They've got to have influence in what you're doing. Whereas all he did is just say, tell me how much it is to come over, I'll send you money. You don't have to mention us, you don't have to do out, you don't have to go this place, you don't have to go. So they had no influence whatsoever where I was going. I just put the name on my shirt. So, yeah.
Bloody hell. So, Danny.
So, January, give us a call.
I'll give you a call, mate.
Or before then, we'll tie it up.
So, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on, mate.
Been a pleasure, as always.
No, it really has, mate. And obviously, you've been very vulnerable telling us your story and going a bit deeper than what we did last time. I think people get. I mean, everyone knows you, mate, but the ones who don't will, if they watch this one and not the first one, they'll get a better understanding of who you are and your journey. And you know, you're going to hit the million at some point soon. And I'd love to get you on for part 3, like we said off.
I think definitely. I think, you know, we did it last year. Let's get next year. You never know, you might be on the table.
And we'll see what happens. But
I want to say one thing now, because you've stitched me up in this, right, with all this misfits with Matt, right? Because I know that you're into boxing. I know that you do a bit of training. If I have to do this, you better be in my corner, lad.
I didn't box mine. I didn't do any fighting.
No, but I can get there with camera and training. I'll phone my mate Callum up. I'll get down at the gym with him. I've jumped in the ring with him once. He knocked me clean out.
There you go. So. We'll all have a gun. But have you got any final words to Matt or the Food Review Club?
Do you know what, Matt? No hard feelings from me. It is what it is. If you want to sit down and have a coffee, I'll have a coffee. If you want to jump in with misfits, I'll take your beard off. But yeah, no, it's all for me. It's, you know, content creating. It's an hard game. We don't need each other smashing each other's heads in, but I will knock it out if you want it.
Thank you so much, Danny, man. Cheers, bro.
So if you've enjoyed this conversation and you like things like this, make sure you click up there and watch this episode.